The following program is sponsored by Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hello, good afternoon, and happy Monday, and welcome to another week and another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, streaming to you live in living color from our respective man caves. It's Jeff Defo Tafaris, Mike Lubie Lubitz. We have got a lot on the agenda, the plates today. Some food, although a lot of food actually, some sports, and now we also have a weather system. Looks like Nicole has sprouted out of nowhere, and the rare November potential hurricane with taking dead aim right at Casa de Defo there, right there, Lauderdale by the Sea. Looks like it's in the sight line. If you see Jim Cantori coming to your neighborhood soon, run for the hills, Defo. How are you?
I'm good. It'll be a bad day for hair pieces tomorrow. That's my understanding. And there are a lot of them down here and a lot of bad ones right here on the beach, including a couple of friends of mine who shall remain nameless, who should be ashamed that they walk outside putting like a muskrat on their head. But I was just, you'll find it surprising, I was just picking up some medical marijuana, and I just made it back to the house here. And I mentioned to the Mustang, who is an authority on all things, and, she is the end-all answer on virtually everything. Lubie can attest to that. And I said, hey, did you see this? I mean, they're calling this a possible Category 1 hurricane. It may landfall right here in South Florida. He's really, nah, it's nothing. But the warnings, I mean, you would think this would be evacuation city for anybody that's living where I am. I mean, right across the street from the beach, if this was going to hit here. And you never know. I mean, we know that last second jog can be anywhere from here to Jacksonville. So,
well, here's what we know. And
gotta be
again,
careful. Got to be careful. It's interesting.
We have to just tell people that this thing is a quickly forming thing. It's not even really a tropical system yet. They just gave it a name. It's just
right now. It's just schmutz out there.
It's a little schmutz way out east there, east of the Bahamas. The wind speed now is only 45 miles an hour. You talk about tomorrow. The rains in the outer bands of this thing could start hitting us tomorrow, which is election day, by the way, too. And that's one reason why I like to do the early voting, because you never know what God has in store for our election day itself. So get those ballots in early. But now, if
I'm more worried about the Proud Boys that are going to greet me at the door there as I send in my Democratic vote.
Let's not get political, but we do want people to still vote tomorrow and get out there early before the weather deteriorates. Whatever your inclination is, we just hope everybody's vote counts and that you are able to make it to a polling place and get your vote in. Do that early. And then, again, the weather is supposed to get bad starting Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then this thing potentially could make landfall somewhere along the coast. Is saying anyway from potentially Hallandale Beach all the way up to Volusia Beach up near Daytona. So again, we don't know exactly where the center might hit, and they're saying it might just barely be a Category 1 storm with 75-mile-an-hour winds. It kind of reminds me of the first version of Katrina back in 2005 when it first formed off the Florida coast and swept through Miami-Dade and parts of Broward as a just formed Category 1 storm before going back into the Gulf and then reforming into the monster that devastated New Orleans. But anyway, here we are, November, and it's just another sign that storm season really does run through November 30th, and B, with the hinky effects of global warming, that we do maybe are going to start seeing later storms that you don't usually you wouldn't think. Meanwhile, I think
we'll be ignoring all of that data soon. All of that will go out the window as soon as the election is over, and if certain things take place. Which I was very happy with your buddy Joe Casale. His speculation was much more favorable to where I would like things to end up than possibly where they actually are going to end up. But he was very optimistic.
Are we talking weather or politics now?
Politics there.
Yeah.
Weather,
Okay.
I mean,
Let's
weather, you
avoid the
never know. I mean, you have
politics.
to be
No.
careful. No, don't.
Because we're here to total escapism here. We talk sports, we talk food, and we don't talk with Lubie anymore because it looks like his
But I think we're
his
still on. This happened
technical
to us
woes.
this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, there he
there
is
he
again.
is.
He's back. Okay, that's good. No, I'm
He's In
I'm
and
just
Out
gonna keep
Burger. He
going.
really is
I'm
on this
keep
show.
going, and no, we had an eventful weekend. And before we get into the middle of the week and the possible impacts on people's day-to-day lives, and everybody needs to take like you're saying. Oh, there's no evacuations announced yet. I would say pay attention to all the news and the authorities in the next 24 to 36 hours because people along A1A and on the barrier islands might be told to move out, especially if we could be getting heavy rains with a little bit of wind. I mean, not category 3 wind, but possible category 1 winds. And again, be mindful and be on the lookout for any kind of evacuations and warnings. But meanwhile, let's go back and talk about pleasant things. I mean, what a great weekend it was in terms of sports and food. And Defo, me and you, we had some fun out there at a favorite Parimutuel on Friday afternoon, right?
You know what? You're a good luck charm for me. As much as we bicker about everything on the show here, and I agree with some of the things you say. Obviously, you're an authority on the local restaurant scene, but a lot of the stuff you present here really seems sort of lame to me. But as much as we differ on that, for some reason, you are a freaking good luck charm. I don't know that I've had a losing session when you've been out there, whatever parimutuel facility we happen to frequent, at least in recent times. And it's funny, we had a couple of amateurs, first-time starters out there, and Jim Sarney and your man,
Dixie.
Mr. Dickstein. And they must have thought it was easy, right? Because we're winning every race, right? Every race.
We're high-fiving,
like,
we're
far,
screaming.
Yeah, wire. And, they're like looking and going, man, these guys win every race. It must be, I'm surprised we didn't spawn 2 new degenerates here who would have to get out there and unfortunately face the harsh reality that we're all perennial losers. But it was fun while it was going, and we had a good time out there on Friday for sure.
No, we had fun, and we cashed some tickets, and we basically after the races were done Friday, the first of the 2 Breeders' Cup
Great job by
races.
Seaside Subs, by the way. I worked
Oh,
those over the weekend. Now, I had the equivalent of 1 sub that I took with me because it was 3 different thirds. All outstanding, and I still have some of that roast beef one left. And that, whatever they call that, what was that, the poor boy, the farm boy or something?
the Big
Something.
Dave?
The Big
Which
Dave,
one?
yeah.
The
There
Big
you
Dave
go.
is the roast beef with the
That
melted
thing
cheese.
was great, man. That
Oh, yeah,
was
with
really good, and their tuna was spot on. And the Italian hoagie that I had was excellent also. All 3 of them, beautiful.
No, and that brings us into one of the topics I wanted to hit today. I mean, we've got Let's Eat South Florida, a very busy place this weekend. 92,000 members. We crossed the threshold, and for those
Is
of
it
you
members or
tuning in,
fetchers? Which is it?
no, we call them members.
No, members.
And
Okay.
it's a
No, we
group.
love all you people. We
We
really
call
do.
them members, and
Yeah.
the one of the big topics of the post that caused a bit of a stir yesterday, a woman went to VNS Italian Deli up in Boca Raton, which has been a longtime favorite of mine. Uh, I don't get there quite often enough because I live down here south in Broward, but I've been a number of times and actually picked up a bunch of subs earlier this year and had nothing but good things to say and good bites. But this woman said, "Oh, lately it seems to be trending downward," and that she's a little bit disappointed in both the size of the subs and she used to pick up the stuffed shells dinner, and there used to be 6, now there's 4. But all I know is that it got kind of a big reaction, and when there's this, it's not a piling on, but sometimes you just say, "Oh, is it true or is it not?" If a lot of people come on and say, "No, that's not what I found," but I saw that on the VNS thing, a lot of people were kind of saying, "Yeah, maybe things have changed." And I know that VNS stood for Vinny and Sal, 2 brothers from Queens that opened up the place in the mid '80s. I believe it was Vinny retired a couple of years ago, and he went off to be with his children and grandchildren, I believe, in St. Louis. And then Sal was left running the store, but I don't know if Sal is still there or not, or if there's a new crew. But all I know is that then the Las Espadas post came in, and this is the sub wars is always big on Let's Eat, and I know I'm a fan of Las Espadas, although I think their bread is a little bit soft. I know that you think the bread at VNS is too hard, but now we found like the golden.
There was a happy medium on that bread because this Seaside Subs,
Yeah.
their bread was that caraway seed or whatever they are,
No,
sesame seed
sesame
bread,
seed, semolina bread.
which was fine, and I like it. I'm like you. I don't mind a little bit of crunch with the whole thing. I do agree with Gail of La Spadas that that's their presentation, and it should be appreciated for what it is,
I
and it's
do.
fine. V&S is fine also, but I will say that I would lean towards saying that their bread that was almost a little too hard. I know you
Right.
like it because your father was a dentist, and it means maybe
More business.
subliminally that your family is making money off of this. But I mean, by comparison to Seaside, it's a little harder, and I could see where people might
So
take exception with it.
we've got the
But it's a
gold.
fine place. There's no question that people
We,
wouldn't love it so much.
we've got the Goldilocks effect taking place. Like Las Padas, people say this bread is too soft. VNS, people say this bread is too hard. And then we've got Seaside Subs, where now both Defo and I are saying this bread is just right. So, uh, Seaside Subs, it was great to get in there with Dawn and Andrew, as you mentioned, and it started off a very nice day. And subs are like pizza, they're like Chinese food. It's subjective. People have their preferences and their styles. I think all of them are worthy. The thing with VNS is the last couple of times that I've wanted to pick up subs there, it's been very crowded, and
Yeah.
either the lines have been out the door and I didn't have time to wait. And one time I made a phone call, like, I figured I was gonna pick it up on the way down. I was up in Delray, and I was gonna come back home and see some friends, and I was gonna pick up some subs, and they said, "Oh, it's gonna be an hour and a half wait if you call in. We won't have it ready for an hour and a half." And I was like, "You know what? I'll try again another time." So it seems like it's
I'll
the
be in
Yogi
Palm
Bear.
Beach by then. Yeah, exactly.
It's the Yogi Berra effect of, like,
Nobody goes there anymore.
nobody
Yeah.
goes there anymore. It's too
Too
crowded.
crowded.
So,
Well, and that was one of the questions that was raised about Las Palmas. Like, is it worth the wait? And the question answers itself. People are going to wait 25 deep to get something, especially like essentially a somewhat fast food item, although it's not, your traditional fast food place. But if they're going to wait 25 deep to get a sub sandwich or a hoagie, obviously the stuff must be good, or unless people are just flat out crazy and want to subject themselves to torture for no reason.
well, now we get led into the next topic that we have is people who like to subject themselves to torture or abuse or all kinds of rules. And that is my favorite place, Defo, and of course, favorite place in quote marks and heavy sarcasm, laced with sarcasm. Houston's. Did you see the latest brouhaha involving
I did.
Houston's on the
Yeah,
group?
I honestly, I'm assuming that's all true. I mean,
Give the little
sometimes.
recap for the folks out there.
Well, I mean, apparently, somebody went in there with a party of 5. It turned out one of the people was celebrating a birthday, like an 80-something-year-old lady,
Yeah,
and
83-year-old aunt or grandma.
so they went in there, and this is the thing that gets me. I mean, they sat the people apparently, and then sort of ignored them for a while, and then later came and told the party that they can't have 5 people, which I don't understand. Do they have a thing against odd numbers? I mean, what is the deal? Why can't you have 5 people sitting at a table in a place like Houston's? Have no idea why they would have a rule like that.
You
But they
ask a
actually made the people get up and go.
Right.
It-
According to the woman who posted, and I proved this post, it was sitting in the bin yesterday, and I didn't get around to approving it until about midnight after the late night game.
Doesn't it seem absurd though? Like
well,
McDaniel
yeah, let me
always
get
going
to
for
it.
these
Let me-
fourth
let me-
downs?
I put up this post at midnight, and only insomniacs would see it. I woke up at 8 in the morning. When I woke up at 8 in the morning, it already had like 16,000 views and 300 comments, and now it's like almost 25,000 views and 500 comments. People are going nuts on this because Houston's was a place. They used to have one in Fort Lauderdale. Now there's one in Pompano, and there's still one in Aventura. There's one up in Boca. It's come from this California-based group, I think, called the Hillstone Group, and they were known for very good food and very good service. But lately, they have so many rules, and if you go on their website, they become known as, I call them, the House of No, because it's like, no, you can't have big groups. Like they don't want to have any groups more than 4. They don't want to have any kids. They don't want to have any strollers. They don't want to give you a Bloody Mary in the middle of the week. That was my issue with them. They don't want any boats coming up, even though they have boat docks at the one in Pompano. They don't
Yeah.
want people wearing hats. They don't want people wearing T-shirts. They don't want people wearing cutoff shorts or flip-flops. They have a dress code. No, 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 no. And when a place keeps saying no, eventually I'm going to say no thanks. And it seems like a lot of other people too. To answer your question, this particular woman said, now they said they went in as a group of 5. I think they said they were all there at once. The only thing I wanted to ask them as a follow-up is, Was it a matter of like 3 people came and then 2 people joined the table later, and that when they got seated, they didn't realize it was a table for 5? But no matter what, they said that the server came over, they ordered drinks and appetizers, that they got the drinks and appetizers, and then somebody came over and said, "Wait a second," even though they were in this big, comfortable booth, which, for bigger people, I would imagine maybe 4, anything more than 4 is a little uncomfortable. But for maybe smaller people, they said they were all seated comfortably in this booth, 5 of them. And to have somebody come over after you've already gotten some food and drink and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, our policy is no groups bigger than 4. One of you draw straws, I don't know, but one of you is gonna have to go to the bar." And
That's great.
first of all, that's the cardinal rule against,
And this
the
is an old
Cardinals.
lady on her birthday, though. That's
Yeah,
even more
83-year-old
unforgiving. Yes.
83-year-old Nana with her, children and grandchildren, 5 of them in a booth. And the questions they didn't answer, because I asked, was, did they still get presented with a check? Did they have to pay for the food and drink that they got while they
I
were
would
given the
imagine
boot?
so.
Or
Yeah.
do you just storm out? And I would just storm out, go right across the street to the Professor Ken at the Foundry, because the Foundry lets parties of 6, 7, 8, whatever you want across the street, not to
Well,
put it.
why are they so strict about this 5 or more?
I
Because
have no
it
idea.
seems insane. I mean, look, people come, 3 couples come, that's 6 people, 8, whatever.
No, they
So it's
say
any party over 4 they don't want to accept at one table? Is that
if
the
you
deal
go
there?
onto the Houston's website, not just for this particular location, but the overall chain, they have this list of their policies. And one of their policies is, we think the best way to enjoy Houston's is parties of 2, but maybe parties of 4, but no more. And if you're more than a party of 4, we're going to split you up, and you're not even going to be in the same vicinity, the same area code. You might be way on the other side of the room. This is what they put on their website. It's
Did
basically telling you
they stick a pin in the balloons that the little kids brought to help celebrate with grandma also?
they don't
And
want kids.
I
That's
know,
another
I
thing.
understand. Yeah, well, that's a weird policy, though, and
They say
especially
no strollers.
presented
They
after the fact.
say
Hey,
no
no
high
straw.
chairs, no kids menu. Your kids will get whatever is on the regular menu, pay for it and like it. And again, it seems like it's reached this. The place seems to have done so well for so long that they basically think they're bulletproof. They think they could
It's kinda
afford
weird.
to alienate a lot of customers, and that it's
It
not going to
doesn't
come
look
back to
like
bite them.
the kind of place when you roll up to it that you're expecting that kind of limitation and sort of privacy about it. In terms of the rules, you would not assume that you needed to be, dressed in some kind of collared shirt or whatever, and that a ball cap would be out of bounds. They have outside tables. I knew a guy. His first name was Tony, and his last name escapes me. But he owned the Gatsby's restaurants. Remember those Gatsby's? It was a very, very
Yeah.
nice club, and really classy, sort of upscale but casual at the same time. And he had a bunch of them, and he swore by Houston's. Here's a restaurateur with a lot of success behind him, and I remember many years ago, this is like 15, 20 years ago, he was saying that it's one of the best run chains, always consistent. Like we talk about with like Texas Roadhouse or
Yeah.
whatever. He thought, now obviously they're a little more high end than Texas Roadhouse in terms of pricing and things, but he said they were one of the best places, that he would go there anytime, because anywhere you go in the country, what are you looking for? All of our restaurateurs say the same thing: consistency. You want to, if you get a filet mignon, it should be the same as it is, in Pompano Beach as it would be in Texas somewhere if you go to a Houston's. And he thought that they brought that to the table. But right now they're bringing a lot of bad news to the table, apparently.
No, and to
Which,
go to
I mean,
your point,
reason
like if
never to go again. Never. I mean, I would never tolerate that place if I was in that
yeah,
party. Are you kidding me?
no, and again, the thing is, like you said, if they did all show up as a group of 5, then how does the hostess seat them and can't count? They didn't see that there was
Yeah.
5, and it's
You
against their
slipped
policy.
them out.
And once you get seated and once you get served, that's it. You got to let this
Yeah.
one go and say, all right, well, this one we, maybe write up a manager or a hostess because they didn't follow the rules. But you don't kick out a guest that's already been seated. I mean, that is the worst thing you could do in a restaurant. A bar, unless the guest is belligerent or acting out or drunk or needs to be removed, you never, kick out a guest. Now they do that, I guess, routinely because they have the parking meters on the tables too. They limit guests to an hour to 90 minutes or 2 hours, depending on how crowded it is. And there was a lot of comments in the thread about how people have been there and they were told, nope, it's time to leave. You can't linger and have another drink. We need the table. More places are
How are they
doing
still
that.
in operation with these policies?
Well,
That's the
it,
question.
it has its fans, but let me tell you something because, again, this one caused quite a storm. I do intend to finally get in touch and try to, I know you hate the term reach out. I'm going to call and try to get one of their corporate people on to
Get a
find
hold of
out.
somebody. Just
I
get a hold
want
of
to
somebody.
find out just the explanation of some of these policies and what should happen in a case like this, where if something did slip through the cracks, where you ask a guest, you give the boot to a 80-year-old grandma. I mean, that just looks horrendous.
On their
And
birthday, you're kicking a person out of the restaurant because of some ridiculous policy when they're already seated, and if they're comfortable at the table, then why should you have a problem with it if you're the person that runs the
and
restaurant?
this got a lot of people riled up. And look, I say it's their house, their rules. I've already been subject to it because, remember I tried to order a Bloody Mary. I made the mistake of trying to order a Bloody Mary on a Wednesday, and I was told that that is not possible because they only make their special blend of Bloody Mary mix on the weekends. They don't offer Bloody Marys during the week, which struck me as kind of crazy because any self-respecting bartender can whip together a Bloody Mary given 6 or 7 ingredients. But apparently, that's too much of an ask at the House of No, also known as Houston's. And so I
How
made
are
the
they
decision.
doing in general, though? I mean, are they still
I don't.
maintaining whatever
I
level
don't
of
know. I don't
success
go
they
there
were having?
anymore. And that's the thing. A lot of people on the comments board are like, let's boycott and blah blah blah. We don't do boycotts. I don't organize boycotts on Let's Eat. I tell people places make their own policies and rules. There goes Luby again. But we have a choice
He's
to
off to
make.
Houston, so he knows there's going to be available table. He's inviting four
So
people to go with him, so he can get some drinks and then split on the check.
all we can do as individuals is make decisions based on our own experiences. And if you don't agree with their rules, have had a bad experience, don't go back, which is exactly what I did. I haven't set foot in the joint since
I
they
mean,
declined me, since they said they not just couldn't make a Bloody Mary, that they wouldn't. And, that as a
nobody likes
guest,
getting attitude though when they go to a restaurant. I mean,
right.
no, in
And
general, right? You come to the front desk there, and
so,
you're
I,
asking if you can get in there sometime
yeah,
soon, and the person gives you a rude attitude, and you're thinking, okay, I'll go somewhere else.
all right,
But this is over the top. I mean,
not to beat
that's
this horse,
insane.
but it's really triggered something in people because it's like we've had enough. It seems like you're right. People sometimes do pay to get abused at restaurants, and I don't go for that. I always just try to
Last
find
thing you
another
want,
place where I
sure.
feel welcome. I want to be around people who are happy to have me in there and happy having me spend their money, my money, and are happy to oblige maybe a request that I don't find so outlandish, like a Bloody Mary at lunch. This I'm going to read a comment, if you just indulge me, from Tom House, who is a restaurant consultant, longtime member of the Let's Eat group, and he wrote a pretty funny comment in response to this whole affair. And he says, "Well, one thing is for sure." Houston's is going to get their wish, a nice, peaceful atmosphere of only random couples and parties of one cautiously dining, all furtively looking over their shoulders while reading the rules pamphlet, which will now be handed out with the menus. No children, no pets, no boats, no senior citizens, no locals, no fun, no smiling, no Bloody Marys, no black beans, no special orders or food modifications, no reservations, no large parties, and no hospitality. Just think how smoothly they'll be able to operate. No employees in the weeds. In fact, in due time, there'll be no servers because of the huge reduction in their ability to make a decent living. Attorneys will soon be replacing hostesses in an effort to help disseminate the rules for the increasing amount of complaining guests. All these rules were not created by a restaurant savvy individual. Of that, we can be sure. So that was Tom House
No
weighing.
frisbees or dogs either, by the way.
Yeah, he said no pets, no Tasso, no Joe Cassell. All right, Houston's, you have a
You know what?
problem.
I always thought the place was okay. I really did. I know you were fetching about the Bloody Mary. I haven't been there in a long time because naturally, when you have a buddy that opens up a place right across the street, your
Yeah,
inclination is going to be to go there. And they have sort of, I don't want to say it was similar fare because they do have a different approach to how they present their food and everything, and the style
look,
of cooking and all. But it was always a quality place, like I said. And anytime I went there, I thought, it could be a little bit less costly, but was worth it. And I always had a favorable opinion of it. But apparently, these complaints seem to be legit because that's not the first time we've heard that about the Party of Five thing.
no,
To toss somebody out of a restaurant, though, especially an elderly woman, while she's celebrating her birthday, after you've already been seated is as absurd as anything I've ever heard of in a restaurant. And I've worked in restaurants. I've seen all kinds of different incidents take place. We've had customers that you really didn't necessarily want to serve, but you had to anyway, even though you knew they were going to be rude and obnoxious. But and you had to be nice to them, whatever. But I mean, it seems insane to throw the people out of the restaurant once they've already been seated.
Hey, you know
Insane.
what? It's see something new every day, and hey, it brought a lot of definitely brought a lot of chatter to the Facebook group, the Let's Eat group, and I'm with you, Defo. Uh, I know that the Foundry does not have an intracoastal water view, but it does have a lot of friendly people that seem willing to oblige me. And I don't want to make this into a one-on-one competition. It just so happens that the Foundry is right across the street, and when I'm in that neighborhood now and I'm looking for a lunch or a brunch, I'm going there over Houston's. And that's because it's in direct result to Houston's policies and just being I find it a customer unfriendly place. It still has its loyalists. They still do a good job with their food. I've never had an issue with their food. And it's just a matter of if they're projecting this aura of all this no, 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 then I'm just saying no thanks. That's it.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, go to some places. One of my favorite places in the world, actually, is in Atlantic City. We're going up there next week, and you always try to get into Chef Vola's, and they don't answer the phone. They don't have a website. It's very hard to get a reservation unless you know somebody. People do get reservations, regular people that don't have a connection there, but it always helps to have that. And they have their rules, which I guess have changed, which was they were cash only. It's a place they allow you to bring. They tell you to bring your own alcohol there because they don't have alcohol, but they don't charge you for bringing your own wine. So it makes like what would be maybe a pricey place very, very reasonable. And it's not overpriced in terms of the entrees and things like that. But they had a lot of hardcore rules, and it makes it suspect whether you're going to go through the whole routine of calling 100 times to get a reservation. After a while, you just say, "Hey, look, there are other places there."
Yeah,
But
well, it's
for a place like Houston's to have these kind of policies seems very absurd. Because I used to freely go in there. I lived around the corner there for a long time, and I frequented the place quite often. I never had
I used to
negative
go.
experience there.
I used to go to the one in Fort Lauderdale on
Yeah,
Federal Highway, right around the Big Bend by Sunrise Boulevard. There a lot. I mean, back when I first moved here, it was a go-to lunch spot. I love their burgers. I love their French dip. I had some really good salads.
yeah, good
But
food.
there comes a point where it's enough is enough, and there are other places, and I will make other choices, and everybody is free to make their own decisions. So that's it. Hey, you know what?
Yeah,
A place that I call a house of yes, a place where when you say, "Hey, can you bring a little extra sour cream and maybe some bacon bits for my baked potato?" Or can you, instead of putting the steak on a sizzling platter, can you put it on a regular plate? They'll say, "We'd be happy to."
yeah,
Yes, of course. And that is Tropical Acres Steakhouse. They are known not just for great value, but for great hospitality. I mean, it's one of those places where the customer maybe not always right, but they're usually right because if you want something done a particular way, the Studiali family, Jack and his sons, Jackson and Joe, they will take care of you. They will do their best to accommodate you. They don't care how many are in your party. They have private rooms in the back that could hold up to 150, 200 people. They don't care how many octogenarians or septuagenarians are in your group. They will be more than happy to accommodate you. They don't care if you're coming in with a walker, a wheelchair, a baby stroller, 5 babies. They want your business, and that is why I am so glad and proud to have Tropical Acres as one of the presenting sponsors of the Lunchbox. They are at 2500 Griffin Road, just west of the 95 and the Fort Lauderdale Airport in Dania Beach / Old Fort Lauderdale. They've been around since 1949, a long, long time, 73 years. They are doing something right. Today, Monday, and tomorrow, Tuesday, half-price wine night. You get all kinds of great deals on bottles of wine. You can also get happy hour in the bar, 4:30 to 6:30. Amazing half-price drinks, even the premium drinks. You can get a Belvedere martini for $7. That's what I did last week. You get all these great bar bites in there for during the happy hour. You get the early bird special from 4:30 to 5:30 in the dining room. You have the butcher shop that's open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. so you can bring home all their great cuts of meat and cook them at home yourself. Tropical Acres is open every day but Sunday. Go in there. Oh, and don't forget the loyalty card. For every 12 entrees that you purchase, get a punch card, and then you get the 13th one on the house. That is something. It just makes a great value even better. I love Tropical Acres so much. I just love hearing them say, "Oh yes, Mike, Mr. Mayo, anything you want, you can have it."
Well,
You
Mayo,
can
I mean, you carry a heavy hammer there. I mean, people are afraid of you. They really are when you come into
no,
restaurants.
but even if your name is DeForest or Lubitz
See,
or
now
anybody,
I wanted to say though, I mean, I on that line of Tropical Acres, say, or Cafe Seville, or any of the fine places that we represent here, and the many places that we've been also that are not necessarily sponsors of the show. It's always nice if they make you feel like somebody. See, I've always been lucky since I had like a minor, I guess, celebrity status in town from being on the air for a million years. I always get treated well. You always get treated well. You're Mike Mayo. People come in, they're cowering in fear that you're going to say something
not
about
everybody
the
knows
place
who
with
I
your
am.
92,000 following now on Let's Eat South Florida. Even though you're very reasonable about this stuff and less inclined to trash a place than some people might, be if they were in a position like you are. But isn't it nice when you walk into a place and as we've talked about many times on the show, and the owner makes you feel like, or the server makes you feel like, hey, or the maitre d, like you're really important to them. It's such a difference from this turnoff thing where you think, oh geez, I might not be completely in compliance with the rules here. What are you going to do? Write me a ticket? When you're walking into Houston's, that's crazy.
Call me crazy, but I like going to places that make me feel welcome,
Make you feel good,
not make
yeah.
me feel like I'm some sort of scofflaw or nuisance. So,
Like, what are
all
you
right,
doing here? Yeah, exactly.
we're harping on this. We're beating this dead horse,
No, but
but
it's
that's
legit. It's a legit thing. Some people
yeah,
know how to
no,
do it, and some people, I guess, don't.
yeah. So, anyway, the that's Tropical Acres. We love them, and let's take a break, and we'll come back and talk more about. I made a return to some places that I hadn't been to in a while, and I want to talk about that after these words on the Lunchbox. When people come to me and say, "Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go?" Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. Then there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the blackened grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. And we're back on the Lunchbox. I can't talk unless I hear the Oliver song, right? Food Glorious Food. Or in the case at Houston's, Food Glorious Food. Now get out because you have too many people. Just to put a bow on that, I did make a joking suggestion in that Houston's thread on the Let's Eat South Florida group that when the group finally reaches the 100,000 member threshold, I say we all go to Houston's and ask for a table for 100,000 and see what they say.
Under 1,005, I think.
100,005 was
Yeah,
Andy's line.
that was
It's pretty
good. Yeah.
All right, enough of we did a bunch of bashing today to start the week, and I do have more bashing for Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, but I'll save that for later in the show. I want to go to a little bit of praising. Yeah, I'm bashing McDaniel because basically, if you bet on the Dolphins, first of all, don't ever bet them giving points anymore. Just bet them on the money line because this coach does not care about the point spread. Not that they should, except in a league where they sanction gambling. But by forsaking these easy field goals, chip shot field goals later in the game, where it makes complete football sense to go for these field goals strategically, he just seems to not want to do that, and so it's cost them almost cost them the game 2 times in the last 3 games, but it has cost Dolphins bettors the point spread in 2 of the last 3 games. But we're getting heavy into the.
It was good for me yesterday. That's for sure.
Yeah, because you were
Getting
getting
4
the
with the
3.5,
Bears.
getting 4 points. The final
Yes.
line was Bears getting 3.5 points or 4 points. And of course, by not kicking that easy chip shot field goal to take a 6-point lead in the middle of the 4th quarter, the Dolphins let the Bears hang around in the game a little bit longer. They could have easily tied it with a field goal, and they ended up only winning 35-32, which my math tells me is 3 points, not 3.5 or 4 points. So the Bears were the victors in the point spread. Not that anybody really cares about it, but
Everybody cares about it. What are you talking about, man? People are betting their brains out here. I mean, well, you'll hear, Monday Night Football tonight. You're going to hear the announcers talking about the point spread the entire time, or inferring it. The thing is, I mean, this guy has left for as many good things as he seems to have done. Mike McDaniel. I kind of like some of the things that I'm seeing there. Obviously, this offense is electrifying, but from a strategic standpoint, you can't leave these games up for grabs. All of these games are being decided by 3 points and under 7 points. So many of them. It's a huge, vast percentage of NFL games this year have been decided by the proverbial one score, which is a term I don't really care for, because is it one field goal? Is it one touchdown? What exactly is the one score?
Right?
But I mean, you can't leave yourself vulnerable like that. I mean, later in the game where all Fields had to do was go, maybe 30 yards at the end of the ball game there, and they could have at least tied it. Whereas this game could have been out of reach if, without a touchdown, if you just gone ahead and put these 3 points on the board that were pretty much an automatic.
Yeah, you can't do that against good teams because eventually it's going to come back to bite you in the what. So
That's 2 times in 3 weeks he's done this.
2 times in 3 weeks, and again, both times. And unless it just means he has no confidence in his kicker, because we did see Sanders miss a relatively short one right before halftime. But then the question is, if you don't trust your kicker, you need a new kicker, because if you can't take your chip shots and short points there, it just strategically it did not make any sense, because they could have just been really, really in a bad spot yesterday. Again, to not go up by 6, and again, it meant that even let's say if Fields drove the Bears down for a touchdown late in the game, the Dolphins would have been trailing by 4. Couldn't even fight it with the field goal. Whereas if they were up by 6 and the Bears score a touchdown, you're still only down by 1, and all you need is 2 and his great receiving tandem to get into field goal range to kick the game. So on so many levels, I mean, I was sitting at a poker table yesterday, and me and another guy who did not have money on the game, and neither did I, we were just screaming like, what kind of idiocy is this?
What kind of fool am I? Yeah, to do that again. McDaniel obviously spent a lot of time taking philosophy courses there at, where was he, Yale? And, did no math whatsoever. Any degenerate could do the math, right? Just like you can figure if an Exacta pays $12.80 and you have $7 on it, you know exactly what the figure is within seconds without having to go to any kind of calculator or assistance on that. You can do it in your head. How could this guy not figure out that 6 points is a lot better being ahead than 3 at that stage when you have an at-risk type of play? It's not like he had like an inch to go and he was just going to try and sneak it over the line of scrimmage.
I don't want to float any conspiracy theories, but maybe he's betting on the opposition.
Well, we know Giselle is, although she,
all right, enough of that. I wanted to get into the positive talk today, which twofold. First of all,
Mayo, get out of here. It's a new show. Happy Talk with Mike Mayo, Lubie. Get the label up there.
Yeah, we try to do the yin and the yang. We want to give praise where praise is due. And this is an interesting one because after our little outing on Friday, Dick Steen and I, Best of Delray Beach, he loves Chinese food. And when he was down in Broward, he loves coming to some of our kind of more of the what you call the authentic New York style Chinese restaurants, as some
There
people
is such a
say.
thing. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So a place called Silver Pond, which is on 441 State Road 7 in Lauderdale Lakes, just south of Commercial Boulevard. Now, this is a question for you. If something terrible, awful happens to you at a restaurant, and you basically say, you know what, this place is off my list, I'm never going back. Will you ever reconsider and say, all right, maybe I will give it another chance and I
Possible,
will go
sure.
back?
Yeah.
So
Possible.
this was my story at Silver Pond is I had a kind of a really bad thing happen a while back. It was about 6 years ago. I went with a work colleague who was actually Chinese or had Chinese heritage. And we went to Silver Pond because at the time it was one of my favorite Chinese restaurants in Broward. It has some good real deal Chinese, specializes in seafood, Cantonese classics, and things like shark fin soup, which is actually supposed to be illegal. They also have this you ever have this corn and chicken kind of shredded? Oh, it's kind of ground up corn and chicken soup. Dickstein is a big proponent of it. I had it for the first
I'm
time.
not sure
It
that
was-
I have. I think no. I'm
Okay.
going to say no to that.
I had
Louie, what
salt-
about you? Louie, corn soup?
No, I
He's
mean,
ma-
I
he's
know
making a
chicken
face.
corn chowder. I know chicken corn chowder. I've never had.
Well,
Chinese
this
corn
was a
Not in a Chinese restaurant. I
It's
would
like an
say
egg
no to
drop.
that.
It had like an egg drop soup,
Okay.
kind of velvety consistency. It was very good. But we also had things like beef chow fun, but like kind of really good chow fun noodles, the wide, flat, translucent things. And we had salt and pepper baked soft shell crab. That was excellent. So basically, what happened when I went there 6 years ago, we ordered some Chinese greens, and as we were picking through it to put it on our plate, we saw in the middle bottom of the plate a half-smoked, snuffed out cigarette butt.
You're good, bud. Okay.
So a cigarette butt
well,
was
that's,
actually in the plate of
That
food.
could be a turnoff. That's for sure.
That was, to me, it was a deal breaker. I stopped
Yeah.
eating. I said, I'm not hungry.
Did you
anymore.
write a review after that, or
No,
did you
at
let it
that
go?
point, no, I let it go, but
Yeah.
I was doing something on Chinese food, Chinese New Year, and
I would
was
imagine
like,
they
wow,
were scratched from your list of favorites.
they were
after
they
that
were
experience.
scratched from my list of favorites for a while. And I
Yeah.
didn't go back. However, they have
How'd you get talked into it? I mean, was it just because you had been drinking at the bar there at the Isle and you weren't driving?
Let me continue. The place has undergone kind of a renaissance because there was a change of ownership. I think right before COVID, actually. I think about
Cigarette butt.
two-
That's
two-
disgusting.
2.5 years ago. I think it changed owners, and then they cleaned the place up a bit. It got spruced up, and I've been hearing things from people that I know and trust, and saying you got to give it another chance. It's gotten good again, and they've cleaned up their act. So I decided to bite the bullet and try it once again. And I walked in there with Dickstein, and we had a really, really nice meal, and I would highly recommend it. So Silver
Nice.
Pond is off.
How many stars on the Mayo chart?
I'd give it a solid 3.5 star.
Three
stars.
and a quarter.
Yeah.
Do you go
Yeah.
quarters on the stars?
I don't go quarter, but it's recommended. I give it the
Okay.
thumbs up, the Lunchbox seal of approval, and I would definitely say for people who are looking for the kind of classic Chinese, not just the corner store fried rice and egg roll.
Everybody wants Wo Hop. They all want
Oh,
Wo
Wo
Hop out of New York.
Wo Hop, New
How's
York
it
Noodle
compare with
Town.
Wo Hop? I mean,
New York Noodle Town was my place. I didn't
Yeah.
like Wo Hop. I found it kind
you
of
didn't?
dingy and disgusting. Well, I used to go there.
would you have a
when I was
roach
young.
in your wonton soup
No,
there or
but
something?
New York Noodle Town I found better, and it had just as much good atmosphere. And New York Noodle Town was around the corner, and I used to go to New York Noodle Town. So Silver Pound is, kind of along those lines, and you get all your good Chinese classics. So anyway, that's a happy ending there, where you got
No cigarette butt.
no cigarette butt, and
All right.
nothing but
Did
a
you
good
have to
meal.
pay
And
extra for that when
this-
you, because
service was friendly.
Yeah.
Service was good. I had no issues about anything. So that was story number one. And then another place I went to that I hadn't been in a long time was called Top Hat Deli in downtown Fort
A
Lauderdale.
lot of
Have you
people have
ever
been raving about Top Hat Deli on Let's Eat South Florida.
Yeah, it's owned by the Be Nice restaurant group, and Be Nice because their bumper stickers are everywhere. And same group that owns Coconuts down on the Fort Lauderdale beach, and they also own the Foxy Brown that recently moved. And I went into Top Hat. Top Hat. Elliot Wolf is the owner of the Be Nice restaurant group, and he's like saying, "Oh, you should come in for breakfast sometime. Check it out." So I went with my daughter on Saturday.
Now,
morning.
where is it located?
So it's downtown Fort Lauderdale, just off of US 1. It's Do you know where the Greyhound bus station used to be? But it's like 3rd
Having
Street.
slept there many times.
They actually knocked down that Greyhound bus station, I
Oh
think.
yeah,
It's no
okay.
longer there,
And
but
I'm not
Top
familiar with
Hat
it.
Deli is still
Yeah.
there, even though Lubie is not. But it's on, I think, 3rd Street, Northeast 3rd Street in
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, and in between First and Federal Highway. And it has just a really nice menu of. It's one of these places where I think it's gotten better with age. It has a little more of a modernist deli feel. It's trying to be kind of a tribute to old school delis, and they cure their own corned beef and pastrami. And but we had we split a French toast. It was a challah French toast, which was excellent. That had powdered sugar and berries and some granola on it for crunch, and I really liked that. And then they do, instead of the Grand Slam like you find at Denny's, they do something called the Grand Slam, and it's basically the 2 eggs. They serve it, instead of with home fries or hash browns, they serve it with a potato latkes, a potato pancake,
Nice.
and then you get choice of meat. They do either like a pastrami, corned beef hash, vegetable hash, or bacon for those who are going the non-kosher route. We did it with bacon. Anyways, it was good. They were efficient. They came around and kept refilling the coffee mugs, and it wasn't that outrageously. I thought it was good value. It was like 2 of us had breakfast with drinks. My daughter always gets her fancy, cafe, the latte with oat milk or almond milk or whatever. But 2 breakfast entrees, coffee, and a fancy drink was like $35, which is fine
Not
because
bad. Yeah. That's good. All right.
so that was
The people have been displaying a lot of pictures. I saw more than one post recently on Top Hat Deli on Let's Eat South Florida. And I have to say, the pictures of the food porn always looks good. But in this particular case, it looked very appetizing and like an enticing, photograph might get you motivated to go to the place. So I'm glad you went and said it was good.
You know what else I liked about the joint is that, a lot of times now managers, they just hide in the back. You don't see them unless you ask for them, and then you get called a Karen or a Ken or whatever the terms are. And this
And
place,
God forbid you should be there with 3 other people that day.
right, Houston's. But Top Hat, the manager on duty, was proactive. He was roaming the floor. He was checking up. Hey, is everything okay here? And he apologized. There was a little glitch that the French toast order may not have been put in the system timely, but then it came out pretty right away after the eggs. But he apologized. It's just like being proactive is so. It's a very, very key thing when you're going out to eat. And the other thing I like there is they have some offbeat items. One of the breakfast items they have there is, they call it a breakfast ramen, and it's basically a ramen noodle soup with bacon broth.
Oh, that's all you.
That's usually me, but I
You
didn't
love
try
your
it this
soups,
time.
man. I mean, you're unbelievable with the soup.
So
Hottest day of the summer, man, and you're going to some faux bar or whatever.
well, pho is a breakfast
Yeah.
food in Vietnam. For
Let me ask you a
straight hangover
question, though.
food. Yeah,
I
go
just saw this place, and there are a few of them around. I know you mentioned like Fat Boy Barbecue, but that's like FAT Boy, right?
Yes.
Now, what is the PHAT? That's a sushi place,
Yes, so that's not the
and
same
that's
group.
Fat Boy also. But and
No,
now, what is your opinion of these places? Because I've seen a few of them. I passed a few.
Well, we did a show at Fat Boy Barbecue, and he just
Barbecue place.
Not the
Jarrell-
barbecue place, but I'm talking about the Fat Boy
Okay,
sushi.
yeah.
joint.
So Fat Boy Sushi, different ownership group. It's PHAT, Fat Boy Sushi. They're
Yeah.
sprouting up everywhere. I like the one that first opened south of the New River Tunnel in Fort Lauderdale. I've had mixed experiences at some of the other ones, but they do a nice job. That's fine.
Because it's right by a medical marijuana distributorship that I go to, and
they should do gangbusters
naturally your
business.
first instinct is okay. Why don't we just eat there? But
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I mean, I'd heard about Fat Boy Barbecue. I know it's an entirely different place, but I didn't realize, and I saw the sign there, and it said Fat Boy Sushi, and as you said, there are a couple of locations. So I thought, well, let's see what
They do a
Mayor thinks
nice-
about this.
Nice job with raw fish. They also have some good cooked items. Like one of their specialties is this like mixed, like a sizzling platter of mixed mushrooms, like the wood mushrooms, the enoki mushrooms, and it's in a like a soy broth with butter. It's a very pleasant dish, and it's a vegan dish or a vegetarian dish because they use butter. But yeah, they have some interesting items there. Hey, you know what? Talk about interesting items in restaurants all around town. We're talking about our friends at Visit Lauderdale and. Greater Fort Lauderdale, Visit Lauderdale, Neki Mohan. We're trying to figure out where our
It was
next
Hideki Nomo, pitched for a while.
Neki
Dodgers,
Nomo.
Brewers, yeah.
Neki Mohan. We were scheduled to maybe do a show this week, but now with Nicole getting in the way, I think we're going to have to maybe postpone because
Might be
we're
a
supposed to do
soggy
it
lunch.
on Wednesday, and I don't think we're going to be out and about on Wednesday. But Greater Fort Lauderdale welcomes everybody under the sun, and that means all you foodies out there, the culinary explorers, cocktail connoisseurs, craft beer aficionados. Come one, come all, and check out. Get ready to savor every moment from dockside dining with breathtaking views, lively cafes along Las Olas Boulevard to award-winning chefs serving up every cuisine imaginable, like our friend Timon at the Catherine restaurant. There's a world-class culinary scene that's waiting for you. So come stay and play in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Discover taste sensations at more than 4,000 area restaurants. Tell your friends it's the time. The season is here. Great place to come down and spend a weekend or a week or your holidays. Explore the thrilling nightlife scene besides all the restaurants. We've got craft breweries along the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail, hidden speakeasies, rooftop bars, expert mixologists serving up amazing cocktails. It's a never-ending culinary celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So for more information on the latest events and deals, go to visitlauderdale.com.
I'm not sure if the disappearance of Lubie precludes us from playing the
Oh,
spot
well,
break
you know,
here, but I wanted to ask you though, didn't you?
But let
Did
me
you go to
do
these
one.
festivals? Did you go to these festivals that you were talking about? Weren't
Oh
they
yeah,
this
yeah,
past
yeah. I
Saturday?
did. I did the judging. I did not make it to the tequila festival because I
Okay.
thought that would have led to
A
bad
friend of
things.
mine was at the tequila festival, although I didn't
Have-
get a report,
Okay.
as to how it was, but seemed like he was going to be a big fan of the whole thing and was a huge advocate for it. And how was the other competition there?
Yeah, no, I did the Taste of Recovery event that was up in Delray Beach, and it was a great night. We had, I think, it was about 15 different restaurants and eateries that took part, and there was a competition. I was one of the judges, and we awarded. This was a surprising one, but it was a great event for this Taste of Recovery. I'm sorry, the clubhouse that does all these 12-step programs, and for the chefs and people that are in people all over in all walks of life that are struggling with different addictions and are in recovery. The Crossroads Clubhouse were the beneficiary of this Taste of Recovery event. I saw Louis Bossi again out there. He was nice enough to host us last week. And the surprising winner, it was a kind of a consensus. There were two winners that we awarded top prizes to among the judges. One of them was a Irish pub, Tim Finnegan's, that made this chicken curry that was absolutely delicious. You could smell it coming from a mile away. The odor was so nice. It was beautiful. And then the ultimate prize went to Rocco's Tacos for
Oh, yeah.
a carnitas empanada with a verde salsa, one of those little kind of spicy green sauce on top. And all the judges thought the flavors were composed and balanced, and the empanada shell was beautiful. So that was nice. And speaking of food festivals, we also have to talk about our friends with the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, and that's coming up in January. And everybody should know to go online to vlfoodwine.com and check out all the different events. The grand tasting is going to be on that Saturday, January 14th at Las Olas Oceanside Park. And you have the barbecue battle on the Friday, January 13th. There's a cocktail competition on the Wednesday night. I'm going to be judging at a bunch of these events, and they announced the lineup for the barbecue battle. Some really good top flight competitors there, including our friend Jarrell Holston from Fat Boys Barbecue is going to be one of the ones
All right.
there. And Juliet
Nice.
Johnson, we were trying to come up with her name. Juliet
Good job.
Johnson
Yeah.
was Licky Sticky Barbecue. She's going to be taking place. So go to vlfoodwine.com, click on buy tickets, and if you enter the Lunchbox code, promo code
Ooh.
Lunchbox, you get additional savings off your already low ticket prices. Again, makes a great stocking stuffer for the holidays. Go online, vlfoodwine.com, start planning, and give the food lover in your life the gift of a festival that's going to be beautiful down there all around Fort Lauderdale in mid-January. Again, vlfoodwine.com.
Now we got to get Louie to roll some spots while he's still with us,
Yeah.
and then come back and wrap up this edition. We were going to wear our Lunchbox shirts that Sarni gave us
I
today,
have
but
mine.
That'll be tomorrow. That'll be the next remote show. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
show what he brought. That's great.
yeah, no, very nice. The Mike Mayo Lunchbox shirt. I almost wore it on my walk of life the other day, but I was afraid too many people would bother me about, Mike Mayo? And
What I
So,
told Sarni is that we got to get like a graphic designer. I want to make like the Alfred Hitchcock silhouette with the big belly, only
Yeah.
like have it be of me with me like eating a sandwich, like I'm just shoveling a sandwich down my
man,
face.
I tell you what, you broke the record there a couple of months ago, but and we still didn't cover the entire spectrum of what's available here in South Florida. All right, we'll come back with more on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox T-shirts, in tow in just a moment. Or so we think.
Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets. They've got eggs Benedict. They've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Oh, we're back, and I don't know. Is Tasso on the set again? Whose dog is that?
Somebody might be at my door. About obviously, I'm chained to the seat here.
What's your
So,
dog's name? Is that Skippy? Is it,
I have two dogs, Skippy and Holly. Holly, short for Hollywood, where she was found roaming the streets, and you know they're both great, but they're not happy right now with somebody possibly at the door there.
I say we get Skippy and Holly, and let's all go to Houston's and have a big old celebration for lunch, and see what happens. We'll pull up in our boat. Maybe we'll get a little dinghy, and
I used to try to park the wave runner there once in a while just to be a wise guy.
pull up in our boat. We'll have our backwards baseball caps, our flip flops and shorts, our cut off T-shirts. We'll bring the dogs. We'll bring the kids.
Invite Sarni and Casal because we have to be 5.
Sarni, Casal, Tasso. We'll ask for a round of Bloody Marys and a 6-top, and we'll see what happens
on a Wednesday. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, all right. I think that's going to do it for today. Not a moment too soon. Hey, everybody, remember, tomorrow's election day. Make your vote and voice matter. Hopefully they'll tally it and nobody will try to disqualify you. And at the end of the day, we'll count them up. And I guess I know I'll accept the results, whatever they are. I don't know if everybody else will, but
depends
tune
who
in
wins.
later to see America, the democracy. Will the story continue? But go vote and batten down the hatches. Get a little prepared for this possible weather event that's on the way, starting late Tuesday into Wednesday, Thursday. Subtropical storm Nicole, it's called, but it could be tropical storm followed by a hurricane Nicole coming up soon. So again, everybody take your storm prep seriously, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Defo, Lubie, thanks for joining us.
Glue those hair pieces down if you're in the Lauderdale by the Sea area.
That's it. And
don't be afraid to use a little Flex Seal. Yeah.
That's all good. All right, that's going to do it for today on the Lunchbox. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember to enjoy every sandwich.
Please, gentlemen.